Awesome. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Gifts of Awesome Speaker Sessions. Today, we're speaking to an incredible person. Her name's Stephanie Cartin, and she created the company called Socialfly. It's a social media public relations slash marketing company. And this is just a very exciting conversation that we're going to have. And I'd like to thank everybody for submitting your questions. We looked over them, and we are going to try to get them all into this really interesting conversation we're going to have. And yeah, so I guess we'll start. So Stephanie, could you tell us a little bit about kind of Socialfly as a company as a whole, and how you started off as an entrepreneur?
Sure. So Socialfly is a social media marketing and influencer agency. We specialize in creating social media strategies for brands, and then our team execute those strategies on behalf of the brands that we work with. We work with clients like Samsung SmartThings. We've worked with Vera Bradley, 20th Century Fox, VTV, really designing social strategies and then making sure they're implemented properly. So our team is divided out into different sub-teams. So we have our different divisions here. We have our influencer marketing team. So they're a team of specialists who focus on influencer marketing.
Okay.
We have our creative team. So we have art directors and graphic designers and copywriters. We have our account management team. They help with interacting with our clients and managing the client relationship. We have our paid media team that focuses on buying all of the ads for our brands. And then we have our team that focuses on Socialfly as a company. So we have our finance team, our sales and marketing team. So all together, we're able to create these really amazing campaigns for the brands that we work with. And I started Socialfly with my business partner, Courtney, initially on the side of our full-time job. So this is back in 2011. At that time, I was working for SpaFinder. Courtney was working at Amex. She was doing finance, but supporting a marketing division. And I had a lot of friends who were coming to me looking for help with sales and marketing initiatives. And because of my background in sales and marketing, and I was also one of the first users on Facebook when it first started, back when I was a sophomore at Cornell, I started sharing with my friends, you have to start using social media. This is going to be the way of the future. So Courtney and I ended up partnering together on the side of our full-time job, taking on a few clients on the side. We were working nights and weekends for about 10 months before we said to each other one weekend, we were like, okay, if we're going to do this as a business, we either have to go all in and do this or not do it at all. So we decided to quit our corporate jobs on May 4th of 2012. And we never looked back. We handed in our 2 weeks notice and started pounding the pavement, getting new clients. I was always focused and still am on sales and marketing. So signing new clients and doing the marketing for our agency. And Courtney has always been focused on doing operations and finance. So we always were able to divide and conquer from day one. And we still do that to this day. So we don't have too much overlap. And that's how we started the business. We're now a team of 30 people and growing very quickly. We never raised any funding. We did everything organically.
Wow, that's not very common to just go at it right away, and with another person especially. So I guess our first question that a lot of people asked was, because a lot of our leaders, they love creating projects, but they eventually realize that if you have the more brains you have, the more power you have, the more ability you have to really create change. So kind of what would be your tips for working with another person, especially as entrepreneurs?
Oh, that's a really great question. So I would say specifically when you have a business partner, it's very important that you understand what both of your strengths and weaknesses are. Where does it make time for each of you to be spending the majority of your time? For me, I knew my strengths were doing business development, selling our services. With my marketing background, I knew I would be able to market our agency. So I always shared with Courtney from day one, this is where I should focus because this is where I will excel. And with Courtney's background in finance and operations, she knew that's what she was really, really great at and where she should spend her time. I've always been of the philosophy that it doesn't make sense to spend your time trying to be really good at something if you're just okay at it. It's good to understand like the basic principles, but you'll have to invest so much time trying to learn something that might not come second nature to you, instead of just focusing on what you're already good at and becoming great at it and really growing those skills. So for people who are, deciding whether to become business partners with someone or even just working with someone in a work relationship, it's definitely important to understand the other person, not only what their strengths and weaknesses are in terms of their business skills, but also their different work styles, so you can really understand how everyone can work together to achieve the common goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very good points. What was, because I know every entrepreneur has, moments of just, wow, this is amazing, we're doing so well. And then maybe other moments that may seem as downfalls, but in reality, they're opportunities to grow. So what was a point in your kind of journey as an entrepreneur where where it was a little more difficult, and kind of how did you overcome that?
Yeah, I mean, being an entrepreneur, every day is always a new challenge. I like to say there's always going to be ups and downs, but I would say what will allow you to be successful is having resilience. So not letting the, things that don't go well affect you too much, just looking at everything as a problem to solve or overcome. When we first started the business, the original name of our company was called Collective Media. And it was probably a few weeks, I think, into quitting our jobs, putting up a website, and of course optimizing it for SEO, and we did everything the way we were supposed to. So we ended up receiving a cease and desist letter from a company that was called The Collective. It's a really big company.
Oh, okay.
Here we are, 20-something entrepreneurs with no funding, freaking out like, oh my God, we're going to be sued for millions of dollars. Like, what do we do? So we problem solved, and we had met a business attorney through a mutual friend of ours who's also an entrepreneur. That person actually introduced me and Courtney as well. And we were introduced to David, and he agreed to do a barter arrangement with us initially, where he was helping us with some of our legal needs, and we were helping him with his social media and his personal branding for his law firm. So he was able to help us with that situation. And I always say something great can come out of a really negative situation. We ended up changing our name to Socialfly, which I think, and I've also been told by many people, it's a much better name than Collective Media, and says who we are. So it was definitely a scary situation, but just being able to take a step back and not getting so emotionally involved in the situation, just looking at all of the facts and what do we need to do to, in this situation, not get in trouble, make sure that we still have a business and a name of our business, and just problem solving and figuring it out as you go along. Really, with all business challenges, when you start a business, unless you've run a business before, everything really is a learning lesson. You're learning as you go. So just being able to adapt to the changes, not taking things personally, and being able to look at things logically to help your decision making. And we call all of these learning lessons. So as long as you don't make the same mistakes over and over again, you're definitely on the path to success.
Perfect. And something that a lot of leaders do believe in is kind of inspiring your team and making sure that there's collaboration and also just mutual trust. So we were wondering about how do you foster this kind of interconnectedness between your teams? You were speaking about different teams that function in different sectors of the organization, and kind of what are some of your strategies for creating kind of a happy, conducive work environment?
So I have to share with you, when I left the corporate world, and I had worked for a few major companies before I started Socialfly, and along the way, I was always trying to take with me the really good from the corporate world, and then making sure that I was leaving behind the things that I just never wanted to bring into a work environment that I was creating. So from day one, Courtney and I always talked about the importance of really fostering collaboration, having an environment where people were excited to come to work every single day and wanted to be able to contribute. We're in line with the goals of the company and the mission, and this is just a happy place to be. That's something that's always been important for me. I can share, when I went to college at Cornell, I was in the hotel school. Hospitality is, in my blood. So creating a place where people feel that they feel like they're at home when they're at work is something that's always been very important for me. So we really focused on creating values of our company that, not only could Courtney and I stand behind, but that our team would be excited about. And then we've also created value awards. So every quarter, the team will nominate each other for who is exuding all of our different values here. So our values have been, and I'll read them off to you, but we're actually adapting them right now because in business, you're always evolving and changing. So some of them are changing just a bit, but the first is to go above and beyond, to create fun, to speak up, to stay ahead of the curve, to always inspire and encourage, and to embrace a positive team and family spirit. So these are some things that are just really important to us, and that when we're hiring, we want to be sure that the people that we're hiring really embody these values.
Okay, and could you talk a little bit more about when you are hiring, so you look for these values for going up and above, you're creating a happy, fun work environment. What are some other things that you look for in an employee, making sure that they're going to work well and advance the Socialfly as a whole?
Yeah, so we'll ask a lot of, behavioral questions or situational questions to understand what their previous experience is. We'll ask things like, name a time when you were asked to do something that wasn't in your job description. What did you do or what did you say? To really just understand, how people think and what their responses are, and to be sure that they're team players, because we want to be sure that we're growing our team with members of the team who want to contribute and want to help and work with other people on the team, that they're not just going to be, sitting at their desk and won't speak to anyone and won't collaborate. It's just something that's so important, especially with social media. There's so many moving parts. So if you aren't collaborating with other members of the team, then your campaign it won't be successful.
Yeah, and you mentioned moving parts, social media always evolving, and that's a big topic nowadays. I mean, social media, the internet as a whole, that's changing so much in just a short span of time. So a few of our leaders asked, how exactly are you thinking in the future of how social media might be? How are you shaping the company, and what within the company structure enables it to be successful in the future?
No, that is such a great question. So I can share with you probably as 3+ years ago, when influencer marketing was not even a big, buzzword like it is today. I remember saying to Courtney, I'm like, we have to be working with influencers. Like, this is going to be the future of social media. These influencers are becoming the new celebrity. We need to be able to be offering these type of services to the brands that we're working with. So we became quickly one of the first influencer agencies that were out there. And because we focus on our own marketing, became quickly on the first page of Google, if not number one on Google, for influencer marketing agencies. And then we started having all of these brands reaching out to us. So it's really listening and understanding what's going on in the market, understanding how we need to adapt our current strategies with our brands, because social and digital, everything's always changing, and then being able to react to the market, to be offering products and services to sell to not only our current clients, but also clients in the future, so we aren't just staying stagnant. Because if we were offering today what we offered when we first started the business, we'd be out of business. We wouldn't have a business. We were posting a few times a week on different social platforms for brands and running some Facebook ads, where now we are running, these robust campaigns for brands with all different types of advertising, not just on social platforms. This past year, we started integrating social campaigns with billboard campaigns and subway campaigns that we've been running for brands, all tied back to social. So always being able to stay ahead of the curve, which is one of our values, which means that everyone on our team is always looking to innovate, trying to, read and understand what's going on with all the social platforms, what's happening with new updates, since it's changing every single day, so we can continue to evolve our services and update our client strategies as we need. Does that answer the question?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very exciting topic because, one thing that a lot of entrepreneurs face is that, from what I've seen, the most successful entrepreneurs are the ones that think beyond the now, what is going to be successful next year, and how can I get ahead of the curve. So how would you distinguish, or would you even distinguish an idea that may have potential in the future and you're not so sure about, and kind of an idea that is already being implemented? Like, would you go as an entrepreneur? You saw this opportunity, but it's a little fuzzy because nobody's done it before. Kind of, what is your strategy? Would you just go for it and create something while you have an opportunity, or would you brainstorm? How would you kind of address this issue?
So I think it really depends on the situation that you're in. So from our experience, when we started Socialfly, I'm the type of person, I was always coming up with other ideas to be able to innovate, to offer more services, to pivot into other areas. I'm just like a born entrepreneur. I can't help myself. Whenever I see a good opportunity, I want to figure out if I could make it work and sell something or make something of it. Where Courtney is able to like take a step back and be like, okay, does it make sense to do that right now? Is this the right time? We're focusing on these three other things. This is the priority. She's the one that's able to bring back down to reality. But if you always just bring it right back down to reality, then you can miss these big opportunities to actually take action and move forward. So it's a tough question because it really depends on the situation you're in at the moment. So for example, if you're working full-time at a company and you have this idea on the side and you want to see if you can test something and figure out if it could be real business, go for it, do it. If you're already running a successful business and trying to start something new is going to take time and resources away from your bread and butter, then you have to decide, okay, does it make sense to do this now? Can someone else focus on my day-to-day so I can focus on the new thing? It really just depends on the situation that you're in. That's my best advice there. I'm the type of person I always want to go for everything, but at the end of the day, you only have a certain number of hours in the day. So you can't do everything at once. You have to prioritize, figure out what makes the most sense, and then go for where you think you can have the best gains.
And what would be, for example, if an entrepreneur wants to spread news about his or her project that they're doing, they're raising money for a cause, how would you, what advice would you give them if they want to reach as large of an audience as possible, to get as many people as possible to see what they're doing?
So would this be like if someone was running an Indiegogo campaign or a crowdfunding campaign to raise money for a business, that type of campaign?
Yeah.
Okay. So something that I always suggest is you want to get your immediate friends and family involved first and send them like an email to get them to donate to that campaign before you start pushing it out to the public. Because if you start sharing a campaign on social media where you've raised $0 so far, no one ever wants to be the first person to donate. Maybe some people do, but typically if you see something is already gaining traction and people are supporting it, it's that groupthink mentality. Oh, I want to support that too. Other people are doing it. So I would try to get some initial traction from your immediate circle before you start pushing it out on social media. And once you're ready to start pushing it out on social, Facebook is a great way to be able to reach a new audience of people interested in whatever you're raising money for. So you can run Facebook ads, which can be very inexpensive, and you can target your exact audience. You can also look to other social platforms like Twitter when you're sharing out the content. You want to, are there people who already have big followings that are friends or family members who would be willing to also share out that campaign as well? That will help get you some traction. It's like your own influencer marketing within your own circle of friends and family definitely helps. And then, of course, on Instagram as well, sharing it out on LinkedIn, but making sure you have everything, formatted for the right platform, that you're sharing the right way for each platform so you can gain some traction. And really just being sure when you set up your campaign that you're telling a story, that people are actually going to be interested and excited in your idea. And it doesn't just seem like people are going to give money and it's going to go nowhere. Sharing what that money is going to do, who it's going to help, how it will help grow the business. So people really feel invested in your idea and are excited to see it become a reality. Those would be my first initial tips.
Got it. So to summarize, get your friends and family involved.
Yes.
They're your biggest supporters.
Yep.
Create a story, so like a storyline to make sure that people kind of feel drawn to what you're doing. And then go to different resources like Facebook and Instagram and just go and advertise as much as possible.
Exactly. Yes, you got it.
So what is your, we all want to know, what is your secret to being such a great boss?
My secret to being such a great boss.
Yeah.
I have Jules sitting over here in the background here. I wonder what she would say. I would say I believe I'm a very good listener. So understanding, what's important to my employees, what they care about. I also think for me, I genuinely care about people and I genuinely care about my employees. That's not something you can fake. For me, like I'm so invested in our team and wanting everyone to, be successful in their own way. So I don't think that's something you can actually teach. That's just how I am. I'm a caring person and I want everyone to do well. And I think everyone who works here knows that and knows that I, genuinely want everyone to succeed.
And so what would be kind of your advice for somebody who wants to start out as an entrepreneur and they have this idea? What would be your biggest piece of advice for maybe a student in high school or a student in college to kind of start building their own company?
I think the best experience is just going out there and figuring it out as you go along. But I will say, surround yourself with a network of other entrepreneurs, other people who've done it first, because there's so much that you can learn from them. So you don't have to make all the mistakes that they've already made. But I will say making the mistakes is what does help you learn and grow. But for us, really just surrounding ourselves with other entrepreneurs, a lot of entrepreneurs at the same age where we were all starting businesses around the same time. And those groups really just grew organically. And now a lot of these people are some of our best friends. And not being scared. You just have to just go out there and do it. If you start overthinking it, if you start thinking about what it actually takes to grow and run a business, you'll probably talk yourself out of doing it. You just gotta move forward, keep going every day. Don't take, when people say no, like that's okay. A lot of people are going to say no to you, but you can't take it personally. You just have to keep moving forward because you will get those yeses, but you can't be discouraged by the no's. If you're discouraged by the no's, then you're not in the right field. You got to be, have a thick skin and be okay hearing a lot of no's to get to those yeses, especially in the beginning.
Perfect. Well, that's all the questions that we have for now. Do you have anything maybe you'd like to add to somebody who's watching, a high school student who really looks up to you?
Oh, wow. Well, you can always send me a tweet. I'm on Twitter and on Instagram at Cartin and at Socialfly. So I'm always happy to connect with you guys and answer any questions that you may have. Just tweet me or send me a direct message on Instagram or shoot me an email. I love helping other entrepreneurs who are just starting out. Courtney and I would not be where we are today without other people who helped us, and we've had incredible mentors. So don't be afraid to reach out, not just to me, but to other people who you don't know, because more often than not, people will respond back to you and are happy to help. There's a lot of good people in the world, so just keep going.
Great. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Thanks to everybody who's watching this. As Stephanie said, she's here to help. We're here to help. And good luck in all of your different projects. And thank you again, Stephanie. This was really enlightening and we truly appreciate it.
Thank you. This was so much fun.
All right. Thank you very much. And this meeting will be available on YouTube, on Facebook, on our website. So if you guys want to share it with friends, share what you learned, you're more than welcome to go ahead and do that. All right. We're all set. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Yeah, if you want to, do you want to stop the recording or?
Yeah, right now.